Okay, we have camera. I just did this a second ago and we had no picture. So, well, since I'm going, I'll just wait for you people to show up. I'm Dr. Garrett Smith. Hello. I'm a licensed naturopathic physician here in lovely Tucson, Arizona, where I think we're supposed to get an inch of rain over the next day and a half. So I may see it start raining. I may cut this short and head home. So some disclaimers that I always do at the start. I am a doctor. I am not your doctor unless you are working with me. And if you are working with me, you know how to get a hold of me. So if you need to, after this, go ahead. And I'm a licensed naturopathic physician here, and I do clinical nutrition. That is the treatment of disease with nutrition. We're not just trying to eat a healthy diet. We're treating disease with nutrition. So that is my specialty. And I get lots of people who are and I mean this in the nicest way, the rejects or the failures of other practitioners. Most of the big names out there I've gotten their failures. And I always try to help them the best I can. I don't help everybody, that's for sure. Nobody does. Lots of people's marketing makes it sound like they do, right? But nobody helps everybody because nobody has the answer to everything. As an example, there are no protocols for any root causes. As an example, if somebody had back pain because they take vitamin D supplements, that would be fixed differently than somebody who had back pain because they sit on their wallet. They have a big wallet on one side. There is no root cause to back pain. There is no root cause to everything. So this is why we do individualized clinical nutrition. And this is why we got to look at it from a couple different angles. And this is what I do. This is my specialty. This is what I was born to do. And those of you who have worked with me, I would like to hope that you agree that this is what I was made for. So anyway, back to the questions. So there was another thread about an hour and a half ago, I started questions. So I'm going to start with questions from there first, just because it's, first come, first serve. And that's where we're going to go with this. So just remember, if you are not working with me, I am not your doctor. Anything you hear on this broadcast, if you take action on it and you decide to go and run off on your own, because you're a DIYer, if you mess things up for yourself, that's not on me. That's on you. I'm not giving any medical advice to anyone on here. And actually, I tend to give a little less advice than lay people would because I have a medical license to protect. So if people are like, why is he so stingy with the information? I'm going to tell you. I just saw that they're actually making pop music dumber. They're making it read at a lower grade level for people. People are not getting smarter, I'll put it that way. So the more information I put out there, the more ways there are that people could screw it up. So this is why when I give information, I give it to a person at a time. Yes, I have my info folder, and yes, I give people a lot of information in there. People are usually, I remember when I started out doing this, people were like, you have so much information. You should really write it all down so everybody can have it. And I was like, yeah, okay. And I started working on my Google Drive folder, my client info folder, and getting it out there. And then now I get new people and they go into my Google Drive folder and they're like, oh my gosh, this is so much information. So and now I have the opposite problem. People are like, I don't have time to read all that. And I go, well, feast or famine, Okay, so Susie, you were asking me a question about, I'm talking about vitamin A right now and vitamin A toxicity. If you're not familiar with Grant Genereux's work, I would highly suggest looking that up. The easiest way to find his PDFs or on his website is at the 180 Degree Health vitamin or villain article. So if you Google 180 Degree vitamin villain, you'll find the vitamin A article where Matt covers a lot of that stuff, and it'll link to Grant's PDFs. And Grant and I are becoming fairly fast, internet friends, research buddies, as much as we can between here in Tucson and Canada. So we like to chat. We were just chatting over email earlier today about a quick thought I had about protective things in foods versus the vitamin A content in foods or carotenoid content. So when I say carotenoids, I mean vitamin A. I mean vitamin A. When I say carotenoids, I mean vitamin A. And when I say vitamin A, I also mean carotenoids. Carotenoids are, just think of them as plant vitamin A. And now that I look back on it, when I see that study on smokers who took supplemental beta carotene and they got lung cancer quicker, it all makes so much more sense now. I used to try to defend that study because supplements, I use nutritional supplements, and I was trying to defend beta carotene. And then there's the one about vitamin E. Well, I forget what the vitamin E was, what group that was. It was in a specific group, but they were using only alpha tocopherol and not the other ones. Anyway, vitamin E is great. Best to get it from food, yes, but supplements can work too. And yes, I give people both the options on my treatment plans. So anyway, Susie, you were asking, first question on that other thread. So what is considered excessive vitamin A? You're going to love this answer. It depends. So let's say, you should go look at the Environmental Working Group. They have their Skin Deep Cosmetics database. And you can go and look up retinol, vitamin A, on their database. It's not good. It's not pretty. Overall hazard was like almost pinned. They have a little gauge, and it was almost pinned all the way to the right in terms of high. It was just barely below the top. For overall hazard, for something that they put in your anti-aging creams, and they put pro vitamin A in your Pantene, and you look in some nail polishes and they have vitamin A, and now they're talking about sunscreens putting vitamin A in. Vitamin A sensitizes you to the sun. Why would you put something in sunscreen that sensitizes you to the sun? Are they trying to kill us? Monsanto is behind the golden rice that they're trying to feed to poor people, where the rice grows beta carotene in it. Hoffman LaRoche, the drug company, makes almost all the vitamin A supplements in the world. So now we have a drug company making the vitamin A supplements. We have Monsanto making GMO, beta carotene fortified rice. We have sunscreen manufacturers putting vitamin A in sunscreen. Anti-aging companies putting vitamin A in anti-aging creams. Even though if you go on any dermatology site and you read about vitamin A, they'll say, vitamin A is great, but it's very irritating. What? So it's crazy. I look at it now and I go, it's crazy that I use that stuff. But so anyway, so let's go into how can various people get to vitamin A toxicity. Oh, now I have people, this can't be me. I've never taken a vitamin A supplement and I don't eat fortified foods, and this just can't possibly be me. I have chronic issues and I have several autoimmune diseases, but I've never taken vitamin A. Okay. And yes, I'm dramatizing that. Dramatizing? Yes, dramatizing. Anyway, so let's say you were a good kid. Let's say you were not born yet, and your mother was not healthy, and she was eating tons of vitamin A fortified foods. Low-fat dairy products are fortified. Low-fat dairy has less milk fat in it, which allows the vitamin A to become more damaging. Let's say she took multivitamins or vitamin A supplements or cod liver oil, all while you were in the womb. You had nothing to do with it. The smaller your liver is, the quicker it fills up, right? It doesn't take as much vitamin A to fill up a small liver. So we have in utero. Let's say your mom already had vitamin A toxicity when she got pregnant. That could flow into you too. So we have the even before you were born vitamin A toxicity. Then we have, and ladies, moms, who or even dads who were pushing cod liver oil in your kids. It wasn't a good thing. If you want to see I have a YouTube video out there on my Nutrition Restored channel about the research showing that cod liver oil is just a disaster. If you gave it to your kids, forgive yourself, move on. There's nothing you can do. You can do the vitamin A detox now, and I have the information that you can get it. So it makes it a lot easier with kids because I put a lot more foods on it than what Grant has in his book. So for those of you listening who don't know about this, when I get a problem, I attack it from every angle. So when I found out about this vitamin C thing and I started looking into it, I am coming at it from every single angle. What are all the foods we could do that don't cause problems? What is Grant's experience with foods that do or don't cause problems? What are my experiences with foods that do or don't cause problems? What supplements do we have to avoid? People taking, so carotenoids are fat soluble, right? They are. Essential oils are quite colored, are they not? Aren't essential oils, like I think I saw something that like it takes the peels of 30 lemons or something to make an ounce of lemon oil? So if you had, let's say, orange oil, orange is one of the colors of carotenoids, the main colors. Oranges are one of the highest carotenoid fruits. So orange oil, would that have a lot of carotenoids in it? Probably. Start rubbing that on your skin, you're absorbing it, you start taking it internally, you start absorbing it. I had a client come to me and she's like, I started taking essential oils internally. She's like, I know you aren't going to like this. And I was like, okay. I started taking essential oils about 2 weeks ago and I just can't figure out why I've had this diarrhea for 2 weeks. I said, it's the essential oils. You're taking them internally. I didn't know the vitamin A thing back then. Could have been it. It could have been it. Could have just been that you're taking like these super duper concentrated things from plants that there's not a lot of research on taking them internally. There's just not. And your friend saying it's okay doesn't mean that's research. So anyway, I said, stop taking it and your diarrhea will go away. Well, let me tell you a funny story about diarrhea. Cha-cha-cha, if you used to watch Beavis and Butthead. Since I have been, I know I'm almost through the total vitamin A detox. It takes 3 months. I'm sending this out there before I'm even totally through it, but I would say I'm about 75-80% in terms of my symptoms, and I'm not even to the 2-month mark yet. So I do believe we are accelerating this faster than the 3 months that Grant believes is necessary for people who don't do my stuff. I'm having people do the detox diet, my version, which is much expanded, and I'm having them do nutrition, clinical nutrition, test, don't guess, to replenish the nutrients that we now know are totally connected to vitamin A toxicity. So does it make sense that if I'm giving people the nutrients, so we're getting the vitamin A out, that's easy. The body will do that on its own. Do you have to take any supplements for this to happen? No. Does it make sense that, let's say, vitamin A in the research depletes vitamin E and B12 and folic acid and magnesium and vitamin K and Does it make sense that if we put those back in, we can fix the damage quicker? To me, it makes sense. Grant is not sure. I'm not totally sure. But does it make sense that that could happen? Sure, yeah. Absolutely. Like, think about this. If you had a forest fire come through and burn down all the forest, if you just let nature take its course, would the forest come back? Yes. If you went around the forest and put in little saplings and put in new seeds, would it probably come back faster? Yes. Does that make sense? So, that's that. So back to Susie's question. So we were talking about in utero. So what are we talking about? Kids. Start giving kids cod liver oil or vitamin D or vitamin A or an excess of calcium through dairy. You're going to have problems. But so we got kids. Flintstones vitamins. I used to take those. I learned how to swallow pills because I was a weird kid. I was like, I saw my parents taking pills, taking aspirin once in a while. My parents didn't take many pills, but I saw them taking aspirin once in a while or whatever. And I thought that's going to be a useful skill to have. I was, you could call it a mature kid, you could call it a weird kid, whatever. But I thought that's a useful skill to have. And I have this Flintstone vitamin. I tried swallowing it. It was hard. Flintstones are sharp, right? Tried swallowing it. Didn't work so well. Kept practicing. So now I was swallowing those sharp Flintstones vitamins. You get good at swallowing sharp Flintstones vitamins, you can swallow anything. I could swallow probably 40 or 50 pills in a handful now if I wanted to. I don't take that many pills anymore because I don't need to, because now I know what the problem is. It's getting the poison out and then putting the good in. So you only have to put in a little bit of the good, and then you eat the right foods. So we have supplements when people are kids. Nowadays, the kids got sunscreens with vitamin A in them, and milk fortified with vitamin A. So we have all the things that can be going on with that. As Grant posted on his website on a blog the other day, he saw that in Central America, they're putting vitamin A into the sugar, the white sugar there. And they just say it in the nutrition information. They just say vitamin A like 10%. I don't believe he was saying that they listed it as an ingredient. They might, but I don't know. I don't have a Central American sugar bag here. I'm just going by what Grant told me. And then Grant also told me that there's a movement now for them to take vitamin A off of the labeling. You know how I said, is this like a conspiracy, like to kill us? And they're going to take, if vitamin A, if people are starting to figure it out, they're starting. What's the first thing they do? What's the first thing YouTube and Facebook are doing to voices that they don't like? Okay, censorship. If you want to think about nutrient censorship, it's starting. So just so you know, if I ever disappear, I'm very happy with my life. If you ever hear about me as like one of those disappeared doctors, I hope not, but it'll be because of this. So just keep an eye out. So we have kids with supplements and dairy and all that stuff. Then we have, as they get older, there's the health nut parents who are feeding them tons and tons of brightly colored vegetables, fruits and vegetables, right? We're trying to be healthy, right? Because that is in the old way of thinking. Lots of brightly colored fruits and vegetables are the way to go. Nature with animals likes to mark poisonous animals with lots of bright colors. Gosh, do you think that, as above, so below? Do you think if it does it with animals, it might do it with fruits and vegetables? Say, I'm brightly colored, don't eat me. Why do people like to grow nightshades, which are very high in vitamin A and vitamin D, except the white potato? Why does it grow them in bright red and bright yellow and bright orange and bright green? And why do people like growing them in their gardens? Because the bugs actually don't like them that much. They're easy to grow, right? The bugs leave them alone. Coincidence? Nightshades also have the acetylcholinesterases, the solanine and the chaconine, which are natural pesticides. That's another reason the bugs don't like them. So, anywho, then we have, everybody was into their health. I had a period where I was eating raw liver. I was making raw liver, blueberry smoothie things. Oh God, it was not good. So there's the liver. And I was doing this. This was the Aajonus von der Planet's primal diet. I was doing this in med school. People still talk about me as the guy who was eating raw chicken and, chicken ceviche and raw lamb and stuff like that. It was funny. It got a rise out of people. But am I still alive? Yeah. So, but I look back, and then there's vitamin A supplements. So we have everything coming in. What is excessive? I don't know. Let's do a simple analogy. What is an excessive amount of jogging for a person? One person, they can't even run a quarter mile. One person trains all the time and they go out and they do that. Genetics. I'm 200 pounds. I'm not built for running long distances. I'm a sprinter. So you just got to think, does genetics play a role in it? Absolutely. Being that we're on this question, eczema. Susie, I saw people talking about eczema on your Poofy Organics page. eczema is a dead giveaway for vitamin A toxicity. So now let's get into this. Vitamin A toxicity means, are humans well adapted to dealing with vitamin A and carotenoids? Yes. The problem is once your liver gets full, whatever combination of all these things coming together filled it up and got it to overflow. Think of it as like a bathtub. You got the drain, you got the faucet. Faucet runs like that's us eating vitamin A, putting it on our skin, whatever. And you have the drain, which is your liver getting rid of it through the kidneys, through the skin. We're getting rid of it. Okay? So we have the water, the vitamin A coming in the bath. We have the drain leaving the bath. You can play around with the water in that bath, high or low, it doesn't really matter until it overflows. Once the bath overflows, you got issues, okay? That's when the problems start. That's when the eczema starts. That's when the Hashimoto's starts. That's when the anxiety starts. That's when the insomnia starts. That's when the fatigue starts. That's when all the problems start showing. It's when the bathtub overflows. The bathtub being your liver. Okay? So what is excessive? Once the bathtub overflows, what is your only goal? If you have a trickle of water going into the bathtub, a little trickle, and that trickle is more than is leaving in the drain, does it matter what an excessive amount of dripping is? You should know that it doesn't matter, because you're still causing the bath to overflow more. And the overflowing is not going to stop until you do a combination of two things. There's less water coming in, and the water is leaving faster. Normally in the body, there's a normal detox amount of vitamin A. This is a normal process. One of the ways we get rid of it is cholesterol. The liver turns it into cholesterol. And some people will justify this as saying, well, if you don't take in vitamin A, you're not going to have enough cholesterol. Oh, I don't see that as being much of a problem in this country, do you? Like, I don't worry about cholesterol being high, but I always felt that cholesterol being high was a problem. It meant there was a problem somewhere else. That was why the cholesterol was high. The liver makes about 80% something of your cholesterol. The liver is where the vitamin A problems hit. Coincidence? Maybe if the liver uses cholesterol to get rid of vitamin A, it turns it into cholesterol. Wow, that all tied in together nicely, didn't it? Back when I was in my paleo days and eating lots of fruits and vegetables and being a good little paleoer, my cholesterol was 280. My total cholesterol was 280. My LDL was like 202. Does that sound healthy? I'm not worried. I wasn't worried about my cholesterol, but I was going internally, something ain't right. Don't think something's right about that. So anyway, we tied all that together. So it doesn't matter what excessive is once you're full. All that matters is that you get the incoming vitamin A down and the flow out, either it stays the same, which is the normal rate, or with the nutrition that we do as part of my nutritional restoration work, we put the right stuff in. So that's that. So that's excessive is not a question that can be answered for any one person. My boy had eczema. He doesn't have it anymore. Haven't seen it ever again. He did get the vitamin A detox flu, which is a very specific thing I'll go over in the folder, because I'm not just going to tell. I'm not going to tell people on the internet who aren't doing this with me or who don't have my information. I'm not going to tell them about the symptoms they might have, because then some dumb person is going to be like, but Dr. Smith said this was detox and I should just keep going. I can't do that. If y'all aren't in a field where you understand the liability of what stupid people can do to you, you don't understand. So I can't give all of it away because people will mess it up. So, but Susie, I hope that answered the question. What's in the client file? Is it going to be a duplicate of Grant's work? Okay. Leah, that's a good question. And anybody who has worked with me knows I'm not a shyster. I do over deliver. Yeah, people actually tell me, they never had a doctor actually seem to care about their condition until they started working with me. And then, and I ask people for lots of information in their emails. Anyway, so I have taken, here's what I do. Like I said, I attack it from all angles. I was looking at the folder earlier. We have, and so just so you know, Grant gave out the ebooks for free. I'm not some shyster who's going to repackage Grant's information and sell the same thing. That's, if I was the type who was easily offended, that might easily offend me, but I'm not that type. I've taken Grant's work and I have, with what I'm good at, which is researching and drawing lateral connections and finding these other things, I have greatly expanded it and made it quite a bit easier to live with and more sustainable for the 3 months of the detox than what Grant did. Grant's book, you look in there and he's like, you get to the end of the book and he's talking about cauliflower and beef or bison and beans and white rice. And honestly, people look at that and they go, no. People will be like, I'll keep my Hashimoto's. I'm not eating that. And Grant and I have talked about this. He did not explain in his book. He is doing a super restrictive diet on purpose because he wants his vitamin A level to be 0 to prove, and he wants to be healthy, which he is, and he's seen his eyesight only improve. He wants to be healthy at a 0 vitamin A as part of his scientific proof that we do not need vitamin A one bit. It is not a vitamin. We do not need it. It is not essential. There is no function of it in the human body. We do not need it in any way, shape, or form. And he's raising gerbils to show the same thing. So that is why he is an engineer and he is okay with being super strict on his diet. I'm not okay with being that strict on my diet, and I knew that there were more vitamin A, very low to no vitamin A foods out there that I could find, and I had to make this easier for my clients because none of my clients are going to do cauliflower, beef, and beans and rice every day for even 3 months. But people are reading Grant's thing, and he's been doing this for 5 years, and they go, this is ludicrous. I'm not doing it, and that's why I do what I do. So I've been researching all about, I already found out, which vitamin E supplements I don't want people to do. I've got the supplements we don't want people to do, the multiple, oh my God, the names of stuff in cosmetics and all the other places where it might show up, the diet of things to eat and things to avoid, even if people are looking at them and going, but the label doesn't say vitamin A on it. Don't eat it. Those are the foods that I'm going over. Everything in the folder has been read by Grant and he fully approves of it. So he's not sitting there going, well, why are you just repeating what's in my book? Like that, I'm not a shyster. So yeah, Grant likes the work I'm doing, and we wouldn't be talking about making videos and a big project and getting this out to the world if I was just repackaging the same information that Grant put in there. So is it going to provide everything needed to do a vitamin A detox if somebody wanted? Yes. Now, I am currently working on what the aftermath, okay? What to do when you're done with the detox. Do you have to eat low vitamin A forever? No. It'd be a lot like, the bathtub analogy. I used to use a debt analogy, but I like the bathtub analogy. So you have the faucet with vitamin A coming into the liver. So think about it. You do the vitamin A detox. You got the bathtub's full. It's overflowing. So you have to, you turn off the faucet, or the faucet is just barely a drip. The normal draining is going on. So the water's draining, and it is faster than a drip. So you are slowly, you're stopping the overflow. But some of that overflow, think of it as like watching a video go backwards. The water's going back up, like on a VHS tape when you rewind it. The water goes up and back into the tub. So you got to suck out that water that went all over your floor. So that can take a little while. You're draining out the vitamin A. So now you have, by the end of the 3 months, you have your level of water at a manageable level. A level like you take a bath in, okay? So then can you, as long as the drain is open partially and it is draining like it normally does, could you have a little bit of water going into the tub at the same time? Yes, as long as the water going in, the vitamin A coming in, is the same or less than the water going out, you're going to be okay. Like I said, as Grant has said to me, and we have talked about, the human body has to be very well adapted to dealing with vitamin A. The problem is we have in our world created very distinct pathways to getting overloaded with vitamin A extremely quickly. And through the skin is like the fastest one. Lack of vitamin C is a big one. Lack of butterfat, especially if people are doing low-fat dairy products, and low-fat dairy products are fortified. Low-fat dairy products, because they're fortified, because they have less butterfat in them, are absolutely the worst, and that's what the research shows. Research shows full-fat dairy is better for you than low-fat dairy. I can tell you, I looked at organic milk from Trader Joe's. The full-fat milk had 6% vitamin A, 6% RDA, vitamin A naturally. The low-fat organic milk had 10% vitamin A because it was fortified. So they even fortified the low-fat vitamin A milk, the low-fat milk, to a higher vitamin A than the whole-fat milk. Again, I ask you, are they trying to kill us with this? That research, that little WebMD link I posted on the question thread right before this, WebMD posting about more vitamin A in your blood, more osteoporosis, 15 years ago. That article was like 2003. So have we known about this for a while? Yes. Why is nobody talking about it? I don't know, because I didn't hear about it, and I run around in circles where, Matt Stone and that stuff, everybody's looking at all the alternative stuff and what in the normal stuff that they're suggesting is bad, and nobody ever talked about vitamin A, not in my, so some people are upset. They're going, Dr. Smith, why didn't you figure this out sooner? Well, in naturopathic medical school, they never talked about vitamin A toxicity. They even talked about sometimes giving people 100,000 to 200,000 units a day for a couple days for a cold or a flu. Does that sound like they knew about toxicity? No. The hair analysis world, those people always give vitamin A to lower high hair calcium. Always. That's what they use. That's their hammer. Does it always work? No. I discovered that over the years as I was watching. It worked most times, but it didn't always work, and I started wondering, why is it not working? That was part of what got me here. The Walsh Institute advocates high doses of vitamin A to help to raise your ceruloplasmin and lower your free copper. I saw my wife deteriorate on 25,000 units of vitamin A a day. She was gaining weight. She was getting more tired. She got headaches. She got rashes. She was getting vitamin A toxicity. So if you're upset that I didn't figure it out sooner, I didn't figure it out that soon. My wife's issues, when I saw the vitamin A toxicity thing and when I recognized it, the first person I saw it in was my wife. And I was, holy crap. Like what she's doing is not working. And now I know why. My boy had eczema. I think my wife probably had high vitamin A when he was in the womb. And he came out and he had eczema and he has allergies and he has, other stuff, but the allergies are getting less. The eczema is gone. Do I think ascorbic acid intakes will go down, recommendations will go down with my new understanding of vitamin A overload? I'm not going to talk too much about vitamin C here because then people will do not intelligent things with it. But do I think that if people don't have as much vitamin A, carotenoids total in their world? I'm trying to figure out how to say this because I'm trying to think of what is the word I want to use for coming in through the skin, coming in through the food, coming in through every supplements, food, skin. I'm trying to figure out what that word I want to use for their vitamin A load. I don't know. Anyway, do I think people will need less vitamin C after they have done this? Need becomes a whole nother word in this context. Yes, I think they will need less. Yeah, that's about the easiest thing to do with that. Do I still think I'm going to take it? Yeah. Annika, do I think a restrictive diet like the carnivore diet or keto is healthy? My jury is still out on that. Am I going to eat that way? No. So they both, here she's still going, they both seem to help as they both unknowingly restrict vitamin A foods. That's why they work, but I think we need to be more balanced. So she's talking about, plants being, I would be going into an extreme restriction. I would see plants now as a stressor to the human body and meat, something that structures us. If we completely miss out plants, there would be missing something. Might it be that some stressors are beneficial? Like when I do sports, it's a stressor, but it turns out positive if done in moderation. Could it be that vitamin A can be a stressor, but in small amounts has some benefits for the immune system? Okay, do I think an all meat diet is the healthiest thing we could do? No. Do I think the all potato diet, or as Grant just sent me a study about a rice diet, and people they were doing an almost all rice diet plus like 20 to 25 grams of protein a day. Gosh, and their diabetes was going away. An 80 to 90% rice diet, and their diabetic symptoms. He sent me the study. It's like 100 people who are case reviews in this study. Diabetic retinopathy is healing. Their liver stuff is healing. They're eating almost all rice, and they're making sure to get 20 to 25 grams of protein on top of the rice. They're slowly getting better. Insane. So people can eat all potatoes and do pretty well. People can do almost all rice and do pretty well. People can do almost all ribeyes and water and do pretty darn well. People can do rice and beans as the majority of their diet and do pretty well. So how much nutrition do humans actually need based on what we think we know? Actions, not words. Talk is cheap. I don't care what all the nutrition talking heads are saying. Why is this stuff working for so many people? Go look up the potato diet. Go look up the carnivore diet. They're fixing autoimmune conditions. The rice diet now. I was just talking to Grant this afternoon about it. I was amazed. So, it's blowing my mind. And there's lots of people who can't wrap their minds around it, and that's okay. I got to tell you, for anyone who's listening to this who wants to just go off in the comments with all sorts of questions, I don't have time to argue with people. I just don't. I have clients to see, and more information to spread, and I'm trying to help people, I don't have time for Facebook arguments. So when I get, especially as I saw on the other thread, young guys whose main nutrition education is mainly Ray Peat and stuff like that, and the old school like Lawrence Wilson hair analysis stuff, which is so off. I'm not going to sit there. I'm not going to, just like with politics, trying to sit there and convince somebody else who just wants to argue about sides. I'm not going to do it. I don't have time for it. I don't have any interest in it. And if my Facebook page is my house, and people come into my house and they want to argue with me, I'm going to show them the door very quickly. So anyway, then we have, is there something, a condition, genetics, etc., that would make someone more likely to fill their vitamin A bucket quicker or become toxic more easily sooner? I do think there is. Now, I'm going to use a term here that people who don't understand what I do may go out and butcher this. And that's fine, because they're going to do it on the internet anyway. People who are going to take information and run with it the wrong way are going to do that regardless. But people who are what we would call over-methylators seem to over-methylators. Do I test for methylation anymore? No, I can spot over-methylators like a mile away now. They're sensitive to everything. They take smaller doses of everything. Anything normal that they try, it reacts the opposite most times. So, being that over-methylators are very easily overloaded, they get overloaded faster with vitamin A too. And I think they may also be the types that tend to have harsher detox symptoms. Like I'm getting very quickly, I'm surpassing, I think, Grant in terms of the number of people I'm getting feedback from on this. So I'm very quickly getting tons of information. This is what I'm good at. I take in information, I establish patterns, I see similarities among different people, and then I act on it. This is what I do. So I wanted to, for those of you who may still be doubting and wondering, I had a couple of testimonials. First, I wanted to go into, I had a guy who told me he first got his health problems when he went on the Ray Peat diet. Okay? That's when he was healthy until he went on the Ray Peat diet. And for those people who go, well, you couldn't possibly get vitamin A toxicity from natural things, I'm sorry, you're completely wrong. What this guy was doing, he was eating liver regularly, not every day, but regularly. He was doing Ray Peat's infamous carrot salad daily. And he was, as Ray Peat people do, he was drinking a ton of milk. Here, let me write a recipe of how to get vitamin A toxicity for you, sir. Liver, carrot salad, milk. The only other thing I could add to there would be a lot of sweet potatoes. That would be great. Like, just maybe have some cod liver oil. But anyway, so we have a recipe for getting vitamin A toxic. He said that was when his health problems started. Here, and we've been working together for a while on his stuff. He's been with me for a couple years, and we have helped him. I built my reputation helping people, even back when I was using vitamin A. So was I still doing good for people? Yeah, you can go to my website, nutritionrestored.com, and look at the testimonials there, and you can see that I was doing a lot of good before I even figured this out. But I'd like to read what he said. Hello, Dr. Smith and Julie. The last few months I have felt better than I have in years. I really appreciate everything. Thanks. This gentleman is definitely an early adopter, and he's always asking me, like, what can I do? What do you know? What's new stuff? What can we do? And I put him on this almost as soon after I started, and he jumped on it, and he is getting better in so many ways. So that's just one. I have a couple here. Oh, where did the other one go? Oh, yeah. So let's see. And this was, oh gosh, this was already 9 days ago. Tomorrow marks a month of me on the diet. This is a different person. Tomorrow marks a month of me on the diet. Close to 0 vitamin A for 30 days. I ate mostly beef, rice, potatoes, no peel, coconut products, oatmeal, raisins, butter, mushrooms, parsnips. Biggest change is skin. Absolutely a remarkable change. It's like a baby's skin. I noticed it a week in already, and it kept. Still had some other symptoms. We're still working on those. He's not even through 2 months of the, he's at a month of the detox. Baby's skin. Anyone else want that? Any of you folks out there, ladies, want baby skin? Maybe you got dry skin, maybe you got thinning hair. 2 definite symptoms of vitamin A toxicity, and we can help you with that. So, where's the other one? Okay. So this last one is from a lady who's, more mature. She's on the more mature side. She's not a young buck. Hello, Dr. Smith. Thank you for the enlightening video on Facebook Live. It is perfect to share with others. I'm going to skip the rest of the other stuff. She has noticed the below, needing to pluck some additional lone hairs at the ends of the eyebrows. Okay, I'm going to go through each one separately here. Thinning of the eyebrows goes with hypothyroid. So if she is noticing hairs coming back in on the outer part of her thyroid, on the outer part of her eyebrow, this is a sign that the thyroid is getting better, is it not? Next one. Chin hairs are softer and easier to pluck as are upper lip mustache hairs. This is a sign that the hormonal balance is returning more towards normal, less towards the more androgen hormones and more towards the more female balance of hormones. Okay, and this, yes. Then we have, my gums are covering more of the roots of my teeth after many years of gingivitis. You know what I used to think was funny about gingivitis and gum disease? Isn't one of the first symptoms of scurvy bleeding gums? It is, if you didn't know. Why the hell aren't dentists telling people to take some vitamin C for their bleeding gums? Do they not learn like even one bit? And my dad was a dentist. Love the guy. He thought that teeth were kept healthy by mechanical cleansing. And I was always kind of like, yeah, no, that's not all of it. No way. Dad was an amazing technician, dentist. Didn't know the nutrition part. Okay, not everybody's good at everything. So, vitamin C protects against the damage of vitamin A. And gum problems are one of the symptoms. Gum and mouth and lip, all sorts of mouth problems are signs of vitamin A toxicity. So, those are pretty good improvements in a month. Actually, this woman had been doing it for a month. We've got eyebrow hairs. We've got changes in facial hair. We've got changes in gum health. We've got changes in skin health. We've got just a very simple feeling better than somebody has in years in anywhere from a month to 6 weeks. Haters out there, doubters who want to be like, this can't be right. Fine, cool, don't do it. Wait for all the evidence to come in, and you can do it later. That's fine. You can suffer. People should be welcome to suffer as much as they want. If people want to suffer doing beans and rice and cauliflower and beef or bison, based on what Grant did in his book, you can do that. It will work. Have I expanded the diet list a lot? Yeah. Is it working? You heard. So actions speak louder than words. I have always been after results. I can tell you that I always knew, I'm always trying to improve what I do. Always. I did know that there was something still missing from my program and from my approach. And this is one of the big missing things. So what else do we do? What else do I do in my programs? What else is important? I look especially at iron overload, which vitamin A may play a role in, but fixing that, we got to get the iron out of the liver too. You got high ferritin. If you got a ferritin higher than 70, you got iron overload, and we want to get that iron out of your liver. So we got that. Iron overload, iron deficiency. There's certain nutrient deficiencies that will cause what looks like an iron deficiency. Maybe you ladies who keep getting pregnant and you keep showing anemic during your pregnancy. Yep. And then they give you a little bit of iron, you feel a little better, but it never really fixed the anemia. You got other nutrient deficiencies that are not vitamin A toxicity. There's other nutrient deficiencies. We do testing to find out if you have those. There's copper and zinc imbalance. Could be high copper, could be low copper, could be high zinc, which is super rare, could be zinc deficiency, which is super epidemic. But if you start going and taking high dose zinc, you may cause yourself more problems than you solve. So we just like to test, not guess. Again, if you go and start taking zinc after this broadcast, I'm saying test, don't guess. And if you want to go and test your own zinc and go by what other people say on the internet, not by what I say, then you'll get those results. You're not going to get what I'm after. So, Annika, what about evaporated essential oil, or what do they call it? Nebulized or why am I not remembering it? The diffusers. Okay, is it probably going to be as much of an issue? Probably not, because that essential oil is going to spread out so much in the air that you're only breathing a little bit. Yet, what are our lungs designed to do? They are designed to absorb stuff from the air. 6 of one, half dozen of the other. You only got a little bit in the air, but the lungs are really designed to, the lungs absorb air. That's kind of hard to absorb, right? So, but they pull air, they pull oxygen, exchange oxygen and carbon dioxide out of the air. Anything that comes down there, they absorb. That's why people get high by breathing smoke. They smoke tobacco, they breathe smoke, they get the drug through their lungs. So it's obviously a good delivery system, a good delivery route. So I can't say. My wife likes to, diffuse essential oils. We do not take them internally in the house. Am I going to stop her from diffusing essential oils? No, I don't think it's an issue. So that's that. Mitzi, the Flintstone vitamins. Yeah. Why did I chew them? And why did I swallow them instead of chewing them? That's just, as a kid, I hung out with the adults. I didn't, the other kids, I looked around and I was like, they're all going to get in trouble. Why are they so crazy? I don't need to do all that. So I was not a normal child. I'm not a normal adult. So that's, I don't know. It was the only way I was going to get any type of practice swallowing pills, I guess. Maybe I knew what my future held. So, I started, like, one of my earliest memories now, my wife told me a couple years ago, it hurt my feelings a little bit, but she said, you've always been kind of snotty ever since I met you, like phlegmy, mucusy. And I remembered back when I was 15, one of the first times I noticed that nutrition affected how I felt. When I drink a glass of milk. I used to drink a lot of milk as a kid because I was trying to get swole, right? I'm going to get big. There was a day I was doing half a gallon of milk a day, which is about as much as I got up to, because I couldn't imagine doing a gallon of milk a day. But I mean, half a gallon of milk a day would be enough. But what I noticed was every time, even drinking a glass of milk, by the time I was even halfway through the glass of milk, I was already getting mucusy. Like I could feel the phlegm forming in my head. And now, so people with a vitamin A issue, weak link in the chain, everybody has different weak links in their chain genetically. Some people like me, where are my weak links that show up from the vitamin A? Sinuses, snot, mucus, allergy type, seasonal allergy type stuff. That is where this is one major spot. Now I know that vitamin A foods cause me loose bowels. Now that I don't eat vitamin A foods, any loose bowel issue that I had is now gone. My mom told me the other day, all my bowel issues are gone. How cool is that when you can help your mom? You know, and then there's also when your mom takes your advice. My mom is amazing. She's an amazing client, patient. She will do whatever I tell her. So I better tell her right, because she'll do it. And so her bowel issues are gone. My bowel issues are gone. Those are the two places that affected me. So it's so nice. I remember when I first started, in the early phases of the vitamin A detox, you tend to start feeling better quickly, and then you start going into the detox cycles. I remember hawking up some phlegm, because I have a lot of phlegm when I'm sick, and I spit it out, and then my son goes, "Dad, you haven't done that in a while." And I was like, "You're right." So even my son noticed. I mean, the first week of the diet, Grant just wrote a big blog post about weight loss and weight and vitamin A levels. First week of the low vitamin A diet, my mom looks at me and she across the room and she goes, "Are you losing weight?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm not trying to. It just happened." I'm down about 10 or 11 pounds from where I started, and it just came off. I didn't have to do anything. I'm eating as much food as I feel like. So there are appetite changes as people do this. That is a normal thing. So I had one client's mom. I'm helping a young girl. And she was telling me that one of the great things about me and what I do and what's in the folder is I tell people, I tell them what's likely to happen, either in my emails or in the info. I say, here's what's probably going to happen. Here's what we'll probably see. And she told me, this is a big compliment to me. She said, "You're the only doctor who's ever told us what was probably going to happen, and then it happened like you said it would," which made her trust me more, because I told her. So when I tell people that vitamin A detox is going to happen and it might be rough and you might have symptoms that you haven't had since you were a kid, you know, true retracing. This is absolute true healing crisis, retracing, detox, flare-ups. It's real. And anybody who doubts that it's real doesn't see the work that I do. I mean, obviously only Julie and I get to see the work that I do and the results and get feedback like from people like that. So it's cool. And sometimes the detox stuff, there's people who are going to watch this video who have had a really rough time with the detox, but it comes and it goes. This is how we know it's not the haters would be like, "How do you know it's not vitamin A deficiency? You're hurting these people. I read Chris Maxwell's article, and this other guy said on your post the other day said that he did on a low vitamin A diet, and 3 weeks later he got blurry vision." Do you know that blurry vision is a sign of vitamin A toxicity? I didn't tell him that because I really like his tone, and so I nixed him. Like I said, I don't have time to argue with people, and if people don't come in here with the right tone, I don't have time for them or energy. Don't have time. Full of testosterone. Maybe they're full of testosterone, maybe they're not, because actually low testosterone has shown to be more argumentative than high testosterone. I don't have time for it. And so what happens with folks, so blurry vision is a sign of vitamin A toxicity. As had they read Grant's book, they would have known that vitamin A toxicity symptoms are exactly the same as the theoretical vitamin A deficiency symptoms, because in the early experiments, the first vitamin, that's why it's A, they actually didn't realize there was an excess, a toxic amount of vitamin A in the rat pellets that they fed the rats. They thought they were giving them a vitamin A free diet. They were killing these rats with vitamin A. And this is exactly why, to this day, vitamin A toxicity symptoms are exactly the same as vitamin A deficiency symptoms. Why did these folks get these symptoms when they suddenly went off their very high vitamin A diet? Because when it comes in slow, or coming in slowly. When it comes out faster. And so you can get symptoms, especially if you're using certain nutrients, especially if you test for those nutrients and you take the ones that needs. So these folks started detoxing. How do we know it's a detox? How do we know it's not a deficiency? How do we know it's not a deficiency, and how do we know it's a detox? Because if they keep doing what they're doing, in a couple days to a week, it goes away and they feel better. And then a couple days later, a week later, might creep back again, less than before. It goes away quicker than before, and then it goes away again, and then they feel even better. This is how detox really looks. So let me go the other way for you guys. So people are feeling better. The detox retracing flare up, they go a little bit backwards, and then they come out of it, and then they go, and then they have a little detox retracing flare up, they go down a little bit, and then they go up further, and then they're up here, and they have a little detox retracing, and then they keep going up. This is what detox and retracing and flare-ups look like. If you work with a practitioner where you have felt like, and I'm not going to mince words here, and you have gotten on their program, they put you on stuff, and you feel like shit. Maybe you're not eating enough food because their diet is way too restrictive, and they're having you eat vegetables all day, vegetables and fat. You want to talk about how to starve yourself to death? Just eat vegetables and fat. Maybe they're telling you potassium is toxic and you shouldn't eat it. Maybe, oh God, maybe they're putting you on all sorts of detox herbs that your body, they call them detox herbs. Are they actually detoxing you? You want to know what most laxatives do? A lot of detoxes where they give you herbs that make you shit your brains out. They're giving you an irritating herb to your digestion that's making you crap your brains out. That is not detox. That's diarrhea. Okay. I have a detox video on YouTube if you wanted to go into this. My should be stored on YouTube. You can find it. I only got about 8 videos there. I'll probably put these up there at some point. But this practice is me and Julie. We do here. So any internet presence you see is me doing. If you know anything about YouTubes and Facebooks and all this stuff, it's time consuming. It's not just throw it up there. So anyway, Leah, liver cleansing such as coffee enemas could help detox vitamin A. Coffee enemas, not really my thing. I don't give advice on them because I think they're overkill. I don't think, I mean, can they help? Do I have people who are going through vitamin A detox symptoms? It's on my work, and they do a coffee enema and they feel better. Yes. It helps flush out the vitamin A that is in their gut and trying to get out. Do I think does it help the symptom at the time? Yes. Do the symptoms come back? Yes, because they're pumping out, they're detoxing coffee enemas. So can they keep doing them over and over? Sure. That's a lot of shoving coffee up your butt. It's just, you know, if people are into that, that's cool. I'm not. Not my thing. So it's in the detox document as one of the things that people can do, but I don't give advice on. I just say if you've done them before and you're into it, go right ahead. But the thing that here's the mistake that people are going to make. They're going to want to think that they can just, so remember the tub analogy? That they can just increase the drain. Herb, because somebody was saying Cissus quadrangularis increases bile and okay, whatever. We'll try it. Is it going to speed things up? Or so let's just think of herbs. So they're trying to speed things up. If they do herbs to speed things up, might it help? Sure. Might it also get their detox symptoms? Some things might. Is it going to correct any of the underlying nutrient deficiencies? Nobody has an herb deficiency. Never heard of anybody who has a parsley deficiency or a sage deficiency or a Vitex deficiency. Never heard of it. So even when women supposedly have estrogen deficiency, nobody says they have a soybean deficiency. God, soy is the nastiest stuff. You should, other than soy like tamari and natto and that stuff, you should avoid soy like the plague. Soy milk is a disaster. So, anyway, can you do coffee enemas? Sure. I actually feel like for me, coffee in the morning, and yes, coffee's okay on the plan. Coffee in the morning is to help calm down. So what I told you, my allergies, am I still having some detox flare-ups of allergies? Sure. They're lower, they're less intense, and they go away quicker than they used to, than the detoxes used to, and they're it's just much more livable. It's just like, you know, it's going away. I can see the end now. I can see the finish line of this detox. And do I expect that my seasonal allergies will be gone? Yes, I absolutely do. There's other allergies that my son has. My son has some anaphylactic allergies, and I'm just waiting to see if that might solve itself too with this. So it's all saying, am I telling you to do anything with this and saying that it works for that? No. Nope. Didn't say that. I'm hoping. And if I see it, oh man. All of the early vitamin A research was done by a guy who worked for the pharmaceutical industry. He had very big ties to the pharmaceutical industry. So this is a deep, deep rabbit hole. Just remember, if you start going and looking on the internet or on PubMed, and you're like, but all these studies show that vitamin A is good for this and good for this and good for this. Most of them are cell studies. Cell studies. Grant goes over in his book about how the things they see in the cell studies, like the rapid cell replication, things burn out eventually. It's not a good thing. So it's not just short-term cell studies, short-term rat studies, studies where they're looking at markers in the blood and saying this should extend to this, don't mean anything. I got studies on gout, and vitamin A toxicity is probably the cause of gout. Osteoporosis goes up with vitamin A. I got a study in dogs that showed that the higher their vitamin A level was in their blood, the more kidney stones they had. The long-term studies are a disaster. I'll probably go liver tox paper here and some of the other stuff that's out there on the internet today that you go and you ask your doctor about this and they're going to shake their head and they're not going to know what the heck you're talking about because nobody's talking about it. It's on websites. It's out there. It's on eMedicine and Medscape and WebMD but you're going to have the natural folks, the crunchy health nut people thinking that natural is okay and that cod liver oil is somehow safe And I'm going to say that there's research that shows that that is absolutely not true. Absolutely not true. Don't ever get caught up in the natural means that it's safe. No. No. So anyway, I think I'm about done. But yeah, the last thing on that thing, don't make the mistake of thinking that you're just going to accelerate the drain without having to worry about fixing what's coming in the top, because you can absolutely overload the top, how much is coming in versus how much you can drain out. And I am working on, Grant and I are discussing long-term diets and, you know, what to watch out for and what to eat and what to not eat. Can people do the low vitamin A diet that I suggest for good? Apparently, yes. I mean, people are living on the carnivore diet. They're living on the potato diet. They're living on the diabetic rice, mostly rice diet. They're living on rice and beans. Can these diets be long-term healthy? And do they usually end up with normal size humans, not extra large humans? Yes, they do. So anyway, I'll be back some other time, maybe next week. Yeah, that's about it. See y'all later. Oh yeah, again, sorry, one more thing. I'm Dr. Garrett Smith of nutritionrestored.com. Again, that's nutritionrestored.com. If you are interested in any of the stuff I've been talking about here, go to the website. We got our contact info there. And yeah, that's about it. Again, don't take any of the advice or any of the things that I said in this broadcast as advice that you should do for yourself, because that's not what I'm giving here. I'm giving information, not advice. So have a great weekend. See y'all later.